Welcome back, everyone. For those who just tuned in, I'm Oscar from the investment team at Catcher Group. Now let's hear from one of the most popular bloggers in the world on how to build a business during the pandemic. We have Nuseir Yassin, founder and CEO of Nas Daily. And our final moderator of the day, we have Khailee, the manager of 500 Startups, joining us again. Take it away, Khailee.
It's so funny. The dude in the backstage literally said, "Hey, we're gonna start in 1 minute," and I was like laughing to myself, But that's crazy, man. Like Nuseir. Like I don't know if anyone even knows your real name, right? His name is Nuseir, by the way. You have been interviewing cultural leaders like Yuval Noah Harari of *Sapiens*, Sadhguru recently on your podcast, and like you've been making videos which literally has like tens of billions of views. Like who's counting? But here you're going to tell us about building a startup during COVID? What? I don't understand this, man. You got to clue all of us in. What's going on?
Khailee, how are you, man? First of all, how are you? Are you doing well?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Better if I had that moss wall in the background.
I know, it's really
like
nice.
Moss wall. It's great. It's like a halo behind your head. It's awesome.
It's also very expensive, but I don't think you'd buy it.
You get shit for free. Come on, you didn't pay for it.
I know. I got a 50% discount for media.
Hey, I had to paint my wall green. Okay, you give me a free moss wall.
First of all, it's great to be here. I don't know. This is the first time Khailee and I have a conversation that's like somewhat professional. We'll do our best to keep it professional. Yeah, dude. I mean, so my name is not Nas. You're right. My real name is Nuseir, like yes, sire, no, sire. And Nas means people in Arabic. And so, yeah, I started by making videos, and for some reason the videos succeeded. For some reason, people watch the videos. Thank God they do. But then at some point you realize it's not fame that you care about. It's not fame that I want. It's not me that I want to build. It's Nas Daily that I want to build. And if you truly want to last for hundreds of years, you cannot build a company on top of yourself. So that's why I'm building now. That's why we're building a startup to take everything we learned as Nas Daily and instill it in a corporation and a company that could last way until I die. And so that's really my number one goal is. Yeah.
No, I'm curious about that, right? Like the idea of lasting. Because I think in the kind of like wild digital startup world, people might not even want to last that long. They want to last long enough to get an exit, right? You want to last long enough to sell for a couple of $1 billion, last long enough to kind of clock in a unicorn and then clock out, right? There's a lot of that kind of like meme around, but you're talking about lasting. Yeah. Like that's unheard of. Like why does that matter to you?
That's so interesting, right? Because in startups, right, you build something, you put .ly at the end, findly, or whatever it is, you give it a weird ass
how about
name.
nas.they.ly?
Then it truly becomes a 2-year startup. No, but that's true. Like I think a lot of times in the startup world, and I came from the startup world, right? I used to be a software engineer, go figure. You build something for 5 years, you make $1 million, and then you go for the next thing. As we're building Nas Daily, my main goal, and I tell this to everyone in the company, we need to be here in 100 years. How do we build something that can last for 100 years? I'm not interested in a 3-year thing. I'm not interested in a 5-year thing. Nas Daily is my life's work. So I know for a fact when I die, I know Nas Daily will be there at my deathbed. I don't think of it as like just like a section in your life where you work hard and then you relax after. So in fact, and I think a lot of people that build companies should have that mindset. Your company should last. The goal is not to win. The goal is to outlast. And I think that's a different, you build the company differently. Did we lose Khailee? I think we lost Khailee.
Oh, it seems like we lost Khailee there. Let us check on this. Too passionate.
So what do I do now? Oh, Khailee, you're back.
Hey, it's so strange, man. Like, we got so excited, the internet exploded, but it seems I'm back. So I actually missed. It's so funny. I just missed like the past 1 minute where you're talking about. But hey, you know what? Let's pick up where I left off. How about that? You're talking about lasting, right? You're talking about like Nas Daily being at your deathbed, right?
Yes.
And I think it's really cool that you although your name is Nuseir, which is very close to Nas. Nas means people, right? So it's about other people, and I think that's really cool because if you really built this for you, you would actually call it something close to your name, like Nas Daily, right? Which, but it's Nas Daily. It means people. I think there's other people, like very few people in the startup world or the tech world that talks about 100-year-old companies. I take a lot of inspiration from Phil Levin of Evernote. Like he sees the mission that actually captures people's memories. Imagine like you've stored all your stuff in Evernote, and then after you pass away, like that'd be something that maybe your grandchildren may find valuable. So he thinks it's very important for a company like Evernote to last for hundreds of years, right? So for me, I resonate with that. People ask me, say, hey, Khailee, you've been at 500 for so long, you want to build a startup? I'm like, nah. Like I've been doing 500 and building it stuff for 7 years. I do it for 50 years. I do it for 100 years. Because I think that it's important that there are institutions that become custodians of society, right? So I'm going to dig into a little bit more on number one. Why is Nas Daily so important to last for 100 years? Not to you, but to people. Why is it important for people to have Nas Daily and society have Nas Daily? And number two, how are you going to do it?
That is a very good question, Khailee. I love that question. You know what? I ask myself that all the time. Like, I tell the team, like, if we don't exist, is the world better or worse? Like if you look at it like a cigarettes company, if a cigarettes company does not exist, the world is better. But I think we're in the business of like empowering creators. So, with Nas Academy, what we're building is essentially we're building a way to become like the Harvard for creators, essentially, where we teach people how to create content, how to raise their voice, how to make videos like I did. I used to be a village kid. You know exactly where I come from, right? That's how we connected on Israel and Palestine. I used to be a village kid, a Palestinian kid in Israel. And it's like people like me need to shut up their entire life because you don't get to be heard. You don't get a voice.
Yeah.
And so I think our company essentially empowers. We don't care about capturing memories. We care about helping you raise your voice. And so that's our big ideal. And I think the world is better when everybody raises their voice. That's how we are doing it. And we think the way you can raise your voice in the future is not with the microphone and is not with going to like the New York Times. It's literally by making a TikTok, by putting a really nice Instagram picture. And that is what we want to be the custodians of, allowing people to develop their voice.
No, I think that's powerful. And I think it's very exciting because like there are a lot of new whether it's YouTube influencers or like Instagram influencers who come from all around the world. They have different accents. They look different. They are completely different from like the Western media that I grew up with. Like even though I grew up in Malaysia, like people say, hey, Khailee, why do you speak American, right? I said, because I watched The Simpsons. That's why I sound like Bart Simpson because I've been brainwashed with Western media. Right. But if I grew up in a generation, a Nas Daily generation, where you got multiple kinds of voices, I don't know what my accent's going to be like. I don't know what my thoughts are going to be like, but you can be sure as hell it's going to be a more democratic process, I hope. Unless the algorithms get in the way. Right. Yeah, it could be.
I mean, also, people like Khailee, people like you in Malaysia, I mean, you don't have a voice either. I mean, who cares about Malaysia around in the US media or world media? Malaysia doesn't make the news.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it. That's interesting because like Malaysia does or any country, they want to actually own their narrative. They want to have a narrative, right? And it's kind of unfortunate that some countries like Malaysia had some bad news in the past years, right? And then so when I do my travels, the 261 flights I did last year, like I'm informally like an ambassador of Malaysia explaining to them, no, the plane, I know it went missing, but the country's all right. You know what I mean? And 1MDB, I'm not going to start, you know what I mean? Like, let's change the conversation. You know what I mean? So I think that it is imperative that not just Malaysia, but Indonesia, that so many countries who are full of vibrant people and vibrant economies, right? And they have something to offer the rest of the world. That story does not get told by the global media machine, So I think we should definitely kind of like lean into that a little bit.
Yes.
And then so, hey, but leaning into the narrative and the purpose of that, right? Let's talk about. You mentioned something earlier that I think piques the interest of a lot of folks. You said you were from the tech world. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about something. I'm gonna tell people something that you might not know about Nuseir here, okay, is that he was educated in Harvard, okay, from village kid to Harvard, and he was a software engineer, okay. Had he chosen a different path, okay, he would have a lot of pimples and a hoodie, okay, and he would be like an olive-colored Mark Zuckerberg somewhere, right? But and you almost went down that path. You worked at Venmo, okay, that's a really hot company. You're a software engineer at Venmo.
Yeah.
And today you have a mosque wall in the background and you're in Singapore, right? Like, what's going on, dude? Like, tell me about that reinvention from software developer in tech into making videos and now kind of using tech as a means to perpetuate a 100-year-old mission. Tell me.
So first of all, I did have a lot of pimples, so much that I had to get like some crazy medications to get rid of them.
Okay. So, is it Roaccutane? Did you use Roaccutane?
Yes.
I did too. It's good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, nice. Yeah. We must have had really terrible childhoods then.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
You know, I think like reinvention is like obviously like the most important thing in the world. I mean, you reinvented yourself too, right? You used to be a magazine model, and now you're like a VC guy.
No, I know this is important, right? Because this is not just you and me. Like, it's also like we look at other creators, we look at other human beings, we look at companies and industries. But I definitely want to focus on you. Like, tell me about that. Like, how did you reinvent yourself then and now?
When you know, I still think tech is very powerful, right? I think you know, the reason I reinvented myself is because I wanted to be in a place where I think I could be very good at. When I was a software engineer, to be honest with you, I was a terrible software engineer. I wouldn't hire myself. And I wanted to be a product manager. But then
how the hell did you graduate from Harvard in software engineering if you were that bad? Come on.
I mean, dude,
you didn't like it, I guess.
Economics.
I
studied economics.
Sorry.
I didn't study software engineering. I mean, also Harvard has like really good branding, but it doesn't mean that people there are that smart. You know, just to be clear.
Okay, very reassuring.
That's the truth.
We didn't go to Harvard. Okay,
so,
go for it.
You know, I think the evolution of change, I think everybody needs to go through that. For me, I realized I wanted to be a product manager somehow, because I think if you're a product manager, you can influence a product. If you can influence a product, you can influence users. If you can influence users, you can change the world. That's why I want to be a product manager. However, no one would take a chance at me. So I took the long way out. I quit the software engineering. I started making videos, got popular on social media, on Facebook. And now I got the 30 million followers. And now I'm building the products, the tech products to influence the 30 million followers through Nas Academy. And so that's, for me, is like a full circle into actually what I wanted to do. But you have to take a little bit of a shortcut or like a long way to reinvent yourself to get back to your own thing. Because I think fundamentally, when you are born, Khailee, everything you wanted to do when you were a kid, you will eventually do as an adult. There's no like straying away from it, you know? Why do you think Jeff Bezos has like a space company? Because he wanted to be a freaking astronaut when he was a kid. Now he did e-commerce, books, blah, 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 all the way to get to space.
Yeah, well, I hope I don't become a fireman. I'm just kidding. but no, I'll tell you. No, I think that is the interesting point you brought up, right? Because I've also been observing like why people care about things. I'm always curious about that, right? And I do think that like maybe growing up, certain memories or certain fascinations, like you've got almost like an emotional storage of sorts. Like it's in your cells, it's in your body somehow, right? And for a lot of people, it expresses itself whether they let it out sooner or later. And I think that like with that in mind, like you talked about the full circle and you circled the entire mosque garden in the back of your head. I've seen folks, right? We talk about pivots. They talk about career pivots. You know, one day you were this and then you're that. But maybe like those are just temporary. Maybe the roles we play, the titles we have, the startups we create, you know, maybe those things are kind of vehicular, if you will. But maybe underlying, there's a certain force that kind of guides that mission. And for us going through life, trying to discover what that is, I think that is very, very interesting stuff. Like I know for myself, like I was pretty confused. Like I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but I didn't really like talking to people and I almost avoided talking to a lot of people. I was super nervous talking to people all the way to maybe like 24, 25 years old, right? So I've only really been talking so much like in the past 10 years, right? And being vegan. Yeah, being vegan from eating like meat and eggs and whatever, all the way to like not touching any, you know, animal-based products for 4 years. Like there's a lot of moments of reinvention. I feel that you feel you want to reinvent yourself for a different purpose, you know, to use yourself as a vehicle for something else, right? So tell me about let's talk about company reinvention then. Everyone's like pivoting during COVID. A lot of folks are sitting down, camped out at home and say, hey, maybe I'm gonna make some changes in my life. Some people are getting really fit. Some people the other way around, right? How about you? During COVID, do you feel, because this title is like building a company during COVID, right? Did you do anything different in your company during COVID?
100%. I mean, look, if anything, COVID has taught us why the internet is important, right? Like everybody agrees on that. For our side, from our side, we like all of our videos that we make, all the content that we make is edutainment. So it's educational and entertaining, right? It's never been only entertainment. Oh, watch Nas Daily for entertainment. That I've never created an entertaining video. I'm not that good looking to be entertaining. Half of it is like, let's learn about this and then this. And then I realized the world of education is going through crazy times. It's unbelievable what's happening, right? People are asking themselves, like, why do I have to pay $50,000 to Harvard to go on Zoom?
Yeah.
And so much better to get an $8 Netflix subscription.
Dude, like, look, if I can kind of jump in on this one, I'm telling you, a lot of people ask me as a VC, they're like, hey, do you invest in edu tech? I'm like, hey, everything is education. Media is education. Gaming is education. Anything anyone consumes is education. Whether you like it or not, you're being educated in something, and it's up to you to accept what you want to be educated by, right? So when you think about that, when you're investing in education, I think that the way people are learning about the world because of creators like you, that's a responsibility. That is a huge responsibility.
That's why we love what we're doing, because we think, media is, you call it media, you call it whatever, but in reality, we're an ed tech company. And I found a way to educate people through the videos, but now with Nas Academy, we're building like a technology product to educate people on skills that we think are much more important to the future than philosophy. So,
then coding, you're like, everyone's like coding schools, but you're like, no, you're going to do coding too?
The future is no code. We all know the future is no code. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I think coding schools are great from like 2010 to 2030. But I think from 2030 and beyond,
it's going to be Nas code.
Maybe. But it'll be media and storytelling. And storytelling is the future. Like propaganda is going to be the future. It was the past. And it will be even more the future. And
hey, let's get meta on this, man. Like I'm with you on this, because I think the way, at least brains, my limited understanding of brains and how we kind of get dopamine hits or cortisol, like we are neurologically wired to feel things. And these feelings, sometimes if we don't take control of them, they guide us. And you kind of transcend that out to global people, like humanity as a whole, right? When you can tell good stories and help people feel a certain way, I think that is again like an important thing to do with a lot of responsibility, right? And I think what you're doing here sounds like we can be more an active participant in shaping the way humanity feels, not just things.
That's what we tell ourselves to sleep at night. Now we may be just like blowing our ego up, but that's what we believe. And I don't think University of Wisconsin teaches this stuff. I don't think Harvard teaches this stuff. I don't think NUS teaches this stuff, The
interesting thing is that I've been interviewing a ton of folks, right? And liberal arts graduates, I love those folks, right? Folks who actually spend the time like studying things which can't get them a job. Like a lot of people feel like if you graduate in liberal arts, you end up working at Starbucks or something. But no, a lot of global leaders actually come to liberal arts colleges. But I do agree with you that outside of the college system, we've got now 2 to 3 billion people just onboarding into the formal economy, onboarding to the internet. Like they're not going to go to University of Wisconsin. Not many of them will. I hope some of them do, right? But how do you think Nas Academy is going to educate them, or your creators that you graduate educate them?
I think the world is we're gonna go from 5,000 US colleges to 50,000 academies. And the same money that's spent on those 5,000 US colleges will be spent on the 50,000 academies. And there's gonna be an academy for cooking, an academy for content creation, an academy for internet, academy for coding, and that's gonna get the brand. The brand will belong to the academy, not to Harvard. And so we wanna empower the content creators on the internet to become teachers and to teach people how to tell their story.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, like, I think what you're saying is not far-fetched at all. It's not futuristic because it's already happening just in a 1.0 version. You know, at 500, we're early investors in Udemy, and Udemy's kind of really built some of that out in the early days, right? But I think that's much more than that because Udemy is quite structured. Like for us, like a 500, I guess I'm going to just review some stuff some people don't know as well. Like I'm with you, and the reason why I love jamming with you, because I feel like underneath a lot of this, we have a very similar mission. Right. Yeah. For 500, we look at itself as a media company. We think that the narrative, like why invest in hundreds of companies like in Indonesia in the early days, right? Why invest in 2,400 companies in 76 countries? People think it's a vanity metric. No, it's a mission. Because when you see entrepreneurs, right, in a different country that is successful, that's a story to tell. You know, and I think that VC is media. When you help a startup succeed and that story gets told, you inspire more people to build their own economies. Okay, and if you don't mind, exactly, it's a hope. We had a front page when we launched our Istanbul Fund, right, where the in Turkish airport gets bombed. Okay, on the front page, right, civil unrest, 500 startups launch Istanbul Fund. Same page, right? Yeah. That is very, very, very aligned with, I think, what you are talking about is that everything we do is a story to tell. Right? Everything you do shapes how people think and feel.
For 500 startups, right, you build companies. You build companies and you make people want to have, let's say, I want to be the next unicorn company because I'm so inspired by what Sea Games is doing or Shopee is doing or whatever. Yeah. Similarly, what we want to build is we want to build individuals. Right? Yeah. We want to say, okay, I'm so inspired by what Nas Daily did or Dear Aline, I want to be like them. And so we want to build the infrastructure where people can actually be allowed to do that, where this becomes a career.
You know, I this is very, very critical stuff. Earlier, you said that you don't need to go New York Times. Okay, I'm just going to say it, right? I think that the tech press in general have gotten really caught up in finding bad news about startups. And that is detrimental to humanity, innovation, and rebuilding economies post-COVID, okay? If everything you're looking for is bad news, and that's the only stories you're incentivized to tell, you know what? I'm dropping an F-bomb, but I'm going to control myself. Like, you know, F you. You know what I mean? I don't think you're doing humanity a service. In fact, like, you know, your work is detrimental. What I believe is that, like, if startups themselves and founders are more equipped to work with different Nas Academy graduates or whatever to actually tell stories of impact. And if 500 and other venture capital folks of the world actually focus on the impact that the companies are doing and not on the money they've raised. We are going to tell the untold story of startups, especially if the founders have actually created these companies to change the world in the first place. And that story is not told these days, you know? The people think it's like,
do you know Ronald Cohen? Do you know Ronald Cohen, Khailee?
No.
Okay, but
so are you so okay?
No, go ahead.
No, I don't know this guy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Go for it, man.
Never mind. Okay. But yes, you got a point. And I think what last week's video that we made on Nas Daily is about a startup that is trying to come up with an alternative to milk, vegan milk. It's called Remilk. Just a couple of 5 guys in Tel Aviv who are building an alternative to milk. Those are the people that need to be supported. And that video got 10 million views. And they couldn't tell their story like this before. There's a lot of interest in people doing crazy crap. Not crazy crap, crazy stuff. There's a lot of interest in that. And there not enough people are telling the story. And when New York Times tells that story, it goes to the academics in America. It doesn't go to a kid in India who doesn't read the New York Times or any news for that case. No, how do you reach that kid?
No, you're talking like, for me, like in my entrepreneurial days, I built this news company, right? Because I feel like the people need to read the news, so the formats are different. But fast forward so many years to now, like the formats that you're tackling on and the future of different formats, I think that's really an interesting axis. But let's say that's kind of like news. You are, okay? You and your army of creators will create those news. 10 million views for a startup story, that is so powerful, dude. Like, congratulations on that, and please continue that work. But hey, education, like we'll talk about that, right? Like I foresee, okay, why does 500 teach venture capital with Stanford, with Columbia, with UC Berkeley, and we did some international calls. We've graduated over 700 VCs, okay? And you would think, why would a VC create more VCs to compete with them? That's like crazy, right? We're similar because you're saying that like you're like the creator god right now. You're creating more creators to kind of compete with you for views. But I think you and I see it a little bit differently. I think that we're just gonna we want to create an institution that produces a certain effect on society. I think that's where like we're kind of connecting on over here, right?
Correct.
So it's media, it's education, it's shaping stories. So hey, right now, if people are tuning into this and really kind of getting jazzed up, right? Like where do they go to kind of connect with what you're trying to do? Because like apart from the videos.
Yeah.
Like
so first of all, I want to say the tide rises for all boats. That is something we fundamentally believe in. So if there's a lot of VCs, you're not going to be left out of the room. There's going to be a lot more money, but you'll be part of the room. And similarly for us, right? If I train a woman on how to make videos, she's going to make videos that I would never make. I would never make a video about, sexual assault because I never experienced it. I made those videos, but I would never make it like authentic because I never experienced it. So people's experiences are very, very different. And that's why you got to empower everybody to be able to be a VC because they invest in things that they believe in, or a creator because they create topics about the things they believe in. We are not the gods of VC or media. We just make videos about a certain thing and we invest in certain companies. But you'd never invest in a bakery, but another VC would.
And yeah, exactly. Everyone's got different thesis. And what we're going to build is lasting infrastructure where other people are carrying on the work. We want systems, processes, and we want it to be a virtuous cycle, which is why your startup makes money. I really congratulate you for not needing any VC money, for being profitable. Those are very important things. And for us as 500 as well, for us to continuously return money to our investors, like it has to be a virtuous cycle that keeps going. Okay. And that's the ecology of the
we're raising
world.
in January. We're raising in January, so I may need you.
That's what this interview is about. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, we'll talk, right? We've talked about this on your podcast. But hey, I hope everything works out for you, man, and I hope to be able to jam with you again. We're just across the border. I don't think you'll ever be allowed into Malaysia because of your Israeli passport.
I am, Khailee. I'm buying.
You got pass?
I filed an application for a passport. I'm buying a new passport just to come visit you.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, all the Malaysian Nas Daily fans, maybe you can organize like a meetup of some sort or something. What do you think?
Yeah, but keep the haters out. There's a lot of haters too. So.
Yeah. Okay. We'll try and put an AI hater filter or something. Okay. You know what? I more power to you. More power to the organizers of Wild Digital. I think that you're really creating a platform for folks like Nuseir to kind of retell his story as well. And more power to all the founders out there who are going through their personal reinvention to rebalance their lives, but also the expression of what their companies do. To have more 100-year-old companies around to do the good work, I think that's one way to go for it. Thank you so very much, Nuseir. And
thank you guys.
And thanks
thank
so
you
much
to Wild Digital,
else.
and thank you, Khailee. Great meeting you again, man. I'll see you soon.
Okay, then see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So much energy there from Khailee and Nuseir. I hope I got its time. Thank you guys. Looking forward to more amazing digital storytellers coming out of Nas Academy. Audiences, be sure to tune into our final session of Startup World Cup, and we'll be revealing the winner who will be competing at San Francisco for a grand investment prize of $1 million. See you at 12:50 p.m.